Yes, Benza.
Yes,
How you
yes,
doing, bro? You good,
I'm
yeah?
good, thank you. I'm
Uh,
good, and you?
yeah, man. I'm good, man. I'm excited to be talking to you and virtually seeing you, bro. So, nah, I'm
Yeah,
real good. Um, just for
cool, bro.
context, I mean, today, what I want to be talking about is just really like mental health and lockdown. As you know, it's something that we spoke about in the past. It's something that hold dear to my heart, from just family experience and my own individual experience. And I know you've been, brave enough and just like empowering to talk to me about your experiences and give me advice. So I think just
Hmm.
during Mental Health Awareness Week, I thought it'd be a good time to do a series of interviews really around this stuff, particularly the whole
Hmm.
lockdown, because a lot of people are struggling, and
Yeah, man.
those who generally, I guess, wouldn't associate themselves with having challenges with mental health are having it now, and then obviously
Hmm.
those who do are probably struggling worse as well. So you know
100.
without kind of going into it, I guess, and for those that don't know who you are, yeah, if you can just introduce yourself, who you are, what you're about, and then yeah, if you don't mind, I've got a few questions, and we can just have a conversation if that's all right.
Hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, well, for those who don't know, I'm Benza, Benza, rapper based in Reading. I'm originally from Banbury, and currently in recovery, man. Um, Yeah, just in recovery, living in a supported accommodation. Moved on house from the rehab I was in, and yeah, man, just doing my music, performing, and spreading the love, man.
Bro,
Telling my story.
nah, blessed for that. And see, there's a couple of nuggets you talked about there already. You mentioned recovery, and you mentioned rehab, and I noticed a right smile because obviously I know that there is positiveness around that. But yeah, if we can
Mm.
touch onto that in terms of recovery, do you mind, what is it you're recovering from? Sort of, mind sharing
Yeah.
that and how the experience of rehab has been for you?
So yeah, I'm in recovery from. So I'm just thinking how long I've got. It's kind of irrelevant to count the days, but
Yeah.
put it this way, I'm way over a year. But and nicotine free. I'm more proud of nicotine. But substance addiction. I was addicted to drugs. I was addicted to cocaine and crack cocaine, weed, oblivion really. But my main drug of choice was alcohol.
Mhm.
Recovering alcoholic. Um, but yeah, man, just well, for those who don't do know me, they'll know all about my story. But yeah, I came from homelessness and rock bottom, and yeah, now what, nearly 2 years down the line, I'm got a roof over my head, and yeah, man, trying to spread a positive message and tell my story, man, and hopefully, inspire someone,
You,
hopefully.
Rob, now what you? I'm one person you're inspiring. Don't get that twisted. So when you say
Bless you,
inspire
man.
someone, I'm one
Vice
person.
versa as well.
Oh,
Vice versa.
very
I see
kind, bro.
you.
Very kind. The check's in the post for that comment. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But
Bless you, man.
you talk about yeah. So you touched on it, the homelessness, and you mentioned. Thank you for sharing that to what you're recovering from. But can I ask, what were some of the triggers that led you to, at the time, and I have to stress past tense, be dependent on those avenues of the drug abuse, alcoholic abuse, and even the nicotine that you're obviously all
Yeah.
recovering from. What were the triggers? What were you, dare I say, trying to escape from or forget about?
Hmm. Yeah. So my main trigger. I mean, triggers with me and most people I know are always emotions, but with with my personal journey was had a lot of close bereavements.
Sorry to hear.
That but the main trigger in my life was just a lot of loss. Losing the death of my brother. He was 37 some years back, and the death of my dad, my uncles, the men in my family. Yeah, we had a lot of loss, but yeah, all of them emotions, like with loss of everything, like I talk about it in some of my music with like pain, any type of pain I see, as loss of something, whether it's a loss of a loved one, or loss of a job, or loss of a house, or and people just end up with these voids, like we know. And some people fill them voids up with something constructive. Some people are amazing like that. They're soldiers. I don't know how they do it, because I view myself as still kind of emotionally undeveloped, but I'm learning. But unfortunately for me, I went down the destructive path, and it's basically all I knew. It's all I was conditioned to do, conditioned myself into doing, and brought up around it. Kind of, you can have that, debate whether it was nature, nurture kind of thing. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I take full responsibility for what I done. No one ever put a gun against my head and told me to drink a beer. But I did. If I'd have known, like me, then But who knows? I don't regret much, because I'm here today and I can tell my story.
Yeah, and I'm glad you can say it smiling, in terms of, you can look back, and these are painful moments, but in terms of just reflecting, and there's an element of, I feel a sense of, you feel victorious in a sense. You're overcoming, and it's not, you're making a positive impact. So that's maybe a good token from it, I guess, in terms of, I know there's been terrible things that have happened. And interesting, you mentioned homelessness as well. So I guess my question then is, when you talked about the triggers and sort of the reasons why, and then why you went into being addicted to what you were. At what point did it start to have that negative impact in your life? So at some point it was, a coping mechanism, and then to the point, then it started maybe getting a bit destructive, to then lead to homelessness. At what point was that happening?
Do you know what? That's just the. It just seems to be the just the natural, like. I'm not even going to say progression, just a natural decline of, addiction. I've always been a problematic drinker. That was my thing. I used to call it, just binge drinking and stuff, and thinking, it was just, it was just, to me. Sorry, I feel like I'm not answering your question.
No, man. Just you're asking your way, bro. That's the way.
Yeah, but right. To me, I feel like how can I explain it? So the way I view it, and the way I still viewed my addiction, because I believe that I was alcoholic many years ago, and I didn't even realize in my early 20s, and it was always an external thing. So with me, it was always, I can still remember standing in court, in magistrate's court, saying to the judge, yeah, but that was the alcohol. And it's always, it's always something external. So my whole life was, yeah, but you would drink too if your dad died, or you would drink too if you went through the abuse I went through. And everything was always external and pointing fingers, and nothing was looking at anything internal and my role in things.
Yeah.
And, it's just too easy just to go down that route of just kind of looking at all these external factors. I'm not saying that they don't,
play a part. Yeah.
Play a part. But for the first time in my life, I actually got to work on me and the reasons, because, alcohol's not, don't get me wrong, I'm not like an advocate for alcohol. I'm not going to promote alcohol stuff. I could write a book on that stuff. But at the end of the day, alcohol is not the actual problem. The problem with me was always my mind.
Yeah. Well, that's.
And but yeah, and the decline was just natural, mate. It used to be. It used to be just losing a relationship, then it was losing a job, not being able to turn up on time. Next thing you know, you're losing your property, you're not paying rent, and that's just the way it goes, man. It's a dark path to take, man.
No, and again, thank you for sharing it. And I like what you talked about accountability there, in terms of everything that's external, and you took accountability. And was it that accountability, that thinking to say, look, actually, it's me choosing to do these things, or as you said, actually, alcohol can only make me do so much in that state. It's me, it's me. What's the role I'm playing? What's the part I'm playing? Is that then what led to the steps into going to rehab and the recovery? Once you started realizing that, how long was the process? Was it pretty much straight away, or was that you were aware but still?
As far as self-awareness was going, when I was in addiction, I only had the tiniest amount of the tiniest amount of self-awareness, as you can imagine. When I was on the streets, I wasn't really thinking too much about anything apart from where my next drink or drug was coming from. But definitely, it's interesting thinking back. I knew one thing. I knew I didn't want to die deep down. So, it's everyone's journey is completely different. I suppose it's all subjective, and everyone's coping mechanisms are different, and everyone's everyone's story. Everyone's got a different story. But with me, I've always been a survivor. I've always been a bit of a soldier. Always, since I was young, and I've always had my coping mechanisms. Like even when I don't mind sharing certain things that I've talked about in counselling, rehabilitation. That when I was a kid, and I basically used to go into my own little creative world when there was madness going on in my home, and I used to go and create in my and I was only around 10 years of age, and my counsellor said, for a 10-year-old boy to find that kind of bubble in that madness that's going on around him was my genius at the time, and I believe it still is my genius, if I can say that humbly.
Yeah, well, and we'll come to what I think that displays itself now. The genius element you talked about, the creativity.
So I've definitely always had that within me.
Good,
and definitely did believe and had that seed in me that I knew that. I remember talking to people in addiction, and they were like, "It's crazy that this guy's still alive." I've been, as you might know yourself, I've been stabbed, I've escaped a burning building, I've had a lot of madness go on, and then to still kind of sit there in addiction on the street and say, I know I'm going to be okay. That's kind of my mentality. I'm a bit of a stubborn guy, but to my
to your credit, kept you alive, mate. So that's your what they'll say in it. That's your inner dog talking. Observing what you're going through, but it's the dog in you saying, nah, look, you're gonna survive this. There's you got a higher purpose or higher calling, whatever you want to call it.
100%.
That's the Benza. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. So that's I love hearing that, man. I love hearing that. And okay, so touched on into the triggers. You touched on a little bit about the path you were on, and then obviously the willingness to take an accountability, and then you touched a little bit on some of the processes around rehab and counseling. So I guess moving on to the current time, how are you now? How is Benza now coping in lockdown with the fact that there's restrictions there? Is there any triggers coming up, or actually are you in a good place? Tell me what you're doing now in terms of remaining productive and the mindset, because you touched on it a little bit already.
Well, that's the thing, because I hate using the cliche things that they use in the fellowship meetings, but there is, they say, good thing about what is it again? the good thing about getting into recovery is you get your emotions back, and the bad thing about recovery is you get your emotions back.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember what it was there. My mind went blank. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said, you know, it still wasn't a struggle. I'm still, you know, like I said earlier on, I kind of class myself as emotionally undeveloped, and that's only down to not allowing myself to fully develop emotionally into an adult, because I spent a lot, you know, a bigger part of my life in addiction. So I'd never faced any emotions. So this is all kind of new. This is like being born again, literally. And so this is all brand new to me, man. I'm having like these, you know, it's like I just landed on planet Earth and I'm tasting food for the first time.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant analogy. Yeah. That's good.
But jokes aside, yeah, man, it can be difficult. It's you know, I have triggers. Social media can be difficult. It's quite hard not to like you know, I'm a very, very sensitive person. I'm an artist at the end of the day, and a lot of artists are. You know, they're you know, the fragile people. But you know, trying not to take things too personal. Social media can be a real negative, so you know, having to have little breathers off that. Can be another addiction. You know,
100%.
Constantly social media. It breeds. You know, I don't know what the right word is, but you know, like comparing ourselves to each other, and I think that's a really bad place to be. And I think it does breed that. I think it does.
There's an element of
there's a lot of negatives about social media that I find.
Yeah, there's also on social media. So to interject there, but you're right, and there's an element of that validation and instant gratification that social media can expose people to. So that, to your point, I think you mentioned earlier, can be another form of you know, you can get addicted to that in a good way. And then
100%.
And then when it's gone, it has the opposite effect, because you're like, oh, why wasn't that so good? So you start to kind of you know, view yourself based on what the likes and opinions of others. So yeah, it does expose that.
It does. It's validation central, man, and it's you know, artists, you know, do want validation, but at the same time, that, you know, there's a balance. That's why I said, like, I like to put something out and then kind of move on. I like to move forward. I like to put something out, and then start writing my next piece. But really positive things going on with that. I'm sure we'll get to that.
Well, I was gonna say, can we explore that now? Because you've mentioned, and I really appreciate honesty, because you mentioned, you know, you still struggle, or have bouts of struggling during the current time, and you've mentioned the social media, and you alluded to you need to take a break. I call that like a social media detox. I do that often. I come off Facebook,
screen detox,
Instagram. Just because I thought sometimes
that was the beautiful thing about rehab, to be honest. Like the first 6 months, there's none of that. There's just no TV in your room, no radio in your room, no phones, man. It was so liberating. I'm not gonna lie. The first month, you're like feeling around every little vibration you hear. You're thinking, "Is that my phone?" You're like, "Hang on, I haven't got one." It kind of brought me back to the good old days. The good old days when I used to knock for someone, and if they wasn't in, they wasn't in. You didn't see them for a week.
That's it. Yeah, you coming out now? All right, cool. I'll catch you later. Oh, wow.
The days of pages. Pages.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I thought I was a right gangster with my pager, I tell you.
Oh, man.
Gee, that took me back. Well, I thought I hit the big time when I had my pager. It's funny. I remember actually, I'm digressing a little bit, but I remember the first time I got the pager, me and my friend at the time, we were a bit late on it. So we got a pager, we got excited, and then we got some numbers come through. And we're like, oh yeah, our first one. It was lottery numbers. Just got the national lottery sent to you, innit? So,
oh, wow.
We went on the payphone, like, right.
They were crazy, man. They were crazy. I think you had to go to the phone box to tell the operator the message so they could page it. Was it that?
So I think depending on the levels that you got. But we certainly, I think that's what we had to do. And that's when we realized, this is a national lottery number. It's not some girl trying to call us.
I gotta be I got to be careful because I'm starting to sound really prehistoric, man.
Don't worry, don't worry. We're on the same age bracket, so don't worry.
It's cool.
I was with you all the way, mate. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so I know I digressed there, but we talk about the social media. You mentioned at rehab, completely gone for 6 months, etc. But what I noticed, you talked about you've been putting stuff out there and writing, and to me, that's alluding to you doing something, as you said, keeping yourself productive. Now, again, I know what that is, but for those that don't, what is that? So, what is the thing that you've been doing to keep yourself productive? You mentioned, alluded to it, you've been putting it out there for people to maybe see. What is that? Tell me more.
So the main things is with me, it's just it's more coping mechanisms, man. As well as recovery from addiction. I'm recovering mental health issues as well, man. I'm not gonna lie, but the these are all coping mechanisms. So the things that I use to cope today are communication, man, is key. So I say it quite a lot. Like some people believe the theory like the opposite to addiction is connection.
Okay.
Whether this is your connection or connection to a higher power, maybe, or whatever is your connection. But I definitely stand by that, and it helps me, man, just to communicate and to also stay creative. They're key for me. Okay. And just to process stuff and and help others. I find the more you help others, the more it helps you.
Yeah, I agree. And you're being very humble, because I was trying to get to say what it is that you're putting out there. So I'm going to allude to it. Is it your music then? So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So you put out, okay, and
I try and connect with people, and sometimes I feel like maybe, I'm not saying it's true. Sometimes I feel maybe my humor may fall on deaf ears. I am genuinely trying to inspire people. Some people don't get my humor, but I just kind of have to live with that. But yeah, definitely telling my story, and I want to continue to do so. And when lockdown's over, to continue performing across country and get creative, with some videos and stuff and some new music.
Yeah.
And some really good times ahead, man. And that kind of keeps me, positive.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
You've made it look easy. That I've been seeing the amount of content you've been putting out and how you've been very creative with it. Because you've done a music video before the lockdown came about. A great song called Benza. People check it out. But Benza will come to that later on, where to listen to it. But equally, your freestyles or your writing that you do, that you post just by doing on your phone, right? And I see a lot of the comments you get are not just your standard heavy, sick, and when I mean standard, but or emojis. People are really connecting. They really feel your lyrics. They're really inspired by the stuff you say. You talk about your journey, and even the funny stuff, the wordplay around with computers or old codger and different things. You've got a good variety, and you put it out on a regular basis. And that's why I wanted to ask that question, because I feel like, and you said it there, if that's making you feel like you're connecting with people and you're getting the responses to kind of back that up, then that's great to see, because not only are you getting something out of it, you're connecting, you're doing it regularly. Yeah. So I just wanted to just say, is that I mean, that's I'm saying that from the outside looking in, right? But is that what it's doing for you? Is that literally keeping you productive and then inspires you to write? Okay, great. I put 3 out there today, for example. Got some really good feedback. Let me do 5 more tomorrow, or is it literally,
Definitely, man. Do you know what? Definitely the feedback is a massive. It has been a motivator. I think I would be creative either way, just for me personally. I'm not dependent on that, but some of the feedback that I do get kind of blows me away. And people don't think that I'm really like, I'm one who struggles with words, but sometimes I do, because it kind of takes me back, because people forget. People can see my bravado online as a rapper, or they can see this kind of, you know, this mask or this image that sometimes I like to portray as Benza, and you know, and then sometimes I get very vulnerable as just Adam telling a story. But either way, there is, you know, I've still got many issues that I don't mind talking about, and I don't mind, you know, letting people know through my music and hoping that they connect. But some of the feedback that I get, it's unreal, and I'm like, it gives me real meaning, like a kind of real sense of purpose when I see, like when I last performed in Reading, and just when I came off stage and someone said, you've inspired me, do you know that? You know, and they're telling me about, you know, certain issues that they went through, and I'm like, this is what it's all about, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even about me or my ego or yeah. And I'm not saying I haven't got an ego.
Oh, we all have.
But,
Don't worry about that. Don't. Yeah.
but I don't. Basically, I don't think my journey is going to be about me and my wishes. I think it's going to be about other people.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what I believe.
Wow. That's well. Now, first of all, wow. I think that's good to hear that you see it that way as well, and it gives more meaning to, as you said, to what you are doing, and going back to the triggers and what caused the triggers and stuff like that. If you think about the whole journey that you went through, that hell of experience what you've experienced, but yet you're able to tell that story, articulate in a way that it inspires others to get past their struggles, I think that's just, to me, it's just a wow moment that we kind of take for granted, or you know, that's a credit to you and the work you're doing, you know, and that, as I said before, that dog in you, Benza, you know, that,
Yeah, so.
because you could because as I said, you're talented enough as an artist. I'm straight away, you know, you're an artist, but you're talented enough as an artist to talk about other stuff and it still be very good, and people be none the wiser unless those who really know you, that what you've been through. But you choosing to tell and mix into that what you've been through and put out in a way that people are still head nodding, taking it in, and are moved enough to share with you how it's helping them. You know, and you're continuing to do that during lockdown. Yeah, because you're regularly posting stuff. So it's great. As I said, it's great to see, and then you've come to that realization yourself about purpose is about others, not yourself. So you're serving through your music. So that's really good. And talk about ego. We all have egos. We've all got egos, man. Egos is what we use to identify who we are. Some play it, some it turns a bit negative. That makes sense. Like, then because I think I'm this way, I mustn't speak to you. You can't talk to me, whatever. That's when it's a bit toxic. But if it's like, no, it's cool. You're cool. That's fine. I think, you know, I think there's a stigma around the idea of ego, like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and this is the thing as well. Like, so with me, you know, personally, like, you know, nothing's ever just like level kind of, you know, nothing's ever really, I don't go 1 week and I'm just balanced and this is me. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I'll have an hour of 1 week where I'm done with music. Like, that's me. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then I'll have an hour where I'm feeling like, you know, I could be like what, you know, my ego's telling me I could be one of the greatest. Like, that's just in that's just in 1 week, bro.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not easy, man. It's not easy.
I don't worry. Listen, the managers I've had about picking my Grammy Award.
That's good, man. Dream big.
You know, listen. So you got to tell yourself you're either the best or the best that you want to be. Whatever. Just listen. You know, we all have our own goals, as I said. But end of the day, you know, for me, I don't know. I judge people how they treat other people as well as what they think of themselves. You know, so it's all good. But as I said, it's great to see that you're doing productive stuff. And I could talk all day to you on this. I really could. You know, but what I want to say or ask you is, you know, for those who are currently struggling, like just generally in life, and as I said earlier at the beginning, with the fact that there's a lockdown and that kind of maybe forces them to face these inner demons that they would normally use the outside world to escape from, and maybe they feel more reserved now because it's, you know, they don't really go online or whatever. What advice would you give to someone struggling during this lockdown period, really struggling with them, you know, mental health and sense of who they are? What you know,
Yeah, man.
I was going to be cliche and say three things, but just what advice, boss?
It's a real difficult one as well, and I've had a lot of, you know, personal bereavements, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of people, you know, a lot of people that I know, you know, feeling the same. It can be very difficult. Mental health is, I think it's a really positive that, you know, we're allowed to talk about these kind of things now. Not that we wasn't allowed to before, but just the fact that, you know, it's, you know, there's no shaming it. And one thing I've learned is with vulnerability comes strength. So the more I talk about my vulnerabilities to people and connect with people and talk about my weaknesses, it really is a true strength. And that's genuinely, that's not anything cliche. I just genuinely think that. So I would say to people, as hard as this sounds, is talk, is pick up the phone and communicate, man. Connection is key, and it was key to my survival, and it will always be key to my survival. Connection, stay connected with people, talk, and you know, a lot of people, if it, you know, not everyone is creative, so
Yeah.
it's just about keeping yourself, you know, keeping yourself busy, keeping yourself, you know, it's difficult. It's really difficult times, man. But keeping yourself, I'm so blessed that I have music, and I have to remember that not everyone else is creative, man. But you know, even if it's down to going for a walk could actually completely brighten up your day, literally. But yeah, just a walk or cleaning up the house, man. Staying busy and staying connected. They're the two main things, man. There's probably loads out there, but for me, that's definitely.
I love that. Staying connected, staying busy, things like going for a walk, you know, and yeah, connecting, reaching out with people.
Course.
Yeah,
and it is, and you can slowly adapt new ways of thinking, man. You know, the more you talk and the more you learn. And I like to, you know, I come off social media and actually read a book, like, you know, like, and even when some days I'm really struggling, I still have like deep-rooted anger issues and other things that, you know, I'm always addressing. That it's just reminding myself that no matter what it is, it will pass and I will be okay. So I don't need to A, lash out, or B, pick up a drink or a drug. I just need to, you know, remind myself that it's going to pass. And when I calm down, I can pick up a phone and say, look, you know, brother, or whoever it is, if it's you or you know, a friend or my mum or anyone like that, just to say, you know, I'm struggling a little today. If you got, you know, and people, you know, people are really good, man. People have got good advice, and it's with that connection that we help each other through it, man.
I put every word of that in, bro. I love that, man. I want to end on that. I think I want to thank you for your time, Benza. Before I do forget, where can people hear about your story, your uplifting music, as well as your funny music? Because you got funny little lines in there as well.
I like to do a bit of everything, man.
Yeah, man, and you do, bro. You do, and you can. And where can they see it and hear it?
So YouTube is the place. I've got a channel on there. I've got some videos that I'm doing on my phone. They won't stay on there though. I will be taking them off when I do get to record them after lockdown, and they're just something for, you know, just the personal connection that I was talking about, connecting with fans and stuff and people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want people thinking that that's like the finished versions. But yeah, It's called I Am Benza. So that's IAMBENZA. That's the channel on YouTube. Type in I Am Benza. My stuff will come up. Please subscribe. If not, just check something out. Hopefully you'll connect. And if not, have a blessed week anyway. And, you know, I'm on Bandcamp as well, benza.bandcamp.com. SoundCloud, Adam-Bennett-Benza, soundcloud.com. And get at me on Facebook, man. I'm always connected with people. So I'm always talking to people, trying to help people who are currently, you know, suffering from mental health issues, connecting with people who are currently in addiction, trying to give them advice and giving them a bit of my, you know, my coping strategies and things that I learned along the way, and trying to help other people as well. I do get a bit overwhelmed, but I don't mind anyone connecting with me. You know, I like to talk, as you can tell.
And it's good. It's good that you're talking
like
now.
Bob Hoskins used to say.
The Facebook, is that a Benza channel again, or was that?
There's Adam Bennett.
Okay,
Adam,
okay.
BENNETT. Benza, BENZA.
Cool. All right, and then you're on Instagram as well.
Yes, brother. That's Adam Benza Music.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'll make
Adam
sure.
Benza Music.
I'll make sure all your channels are posted. But you know, I wanna thank you for your time,
and
bro.
check out my boy Anaja.
Yeah, respect. But I wanna thank you for telling the story, the journey. I think people like you, bruv, are gifts. You know, because you're strong enough to tell your story, the other side of it, the lived experience, and you've said this, so these are not my words. You want to help people, and it's about service to others. So thank you for sharing, and I hope if it can help, if this interview can help one person on that particular day when they're struggling, then you know we've done a little bit.
Job done.
Yeah, right. So
without a doubt, brother. Without a doubt. Thank you for having me, man.
Anytime, bruv. Anytime. You know, we can talk for days on this because you know it's what we're passionate about. So, bruv, bless you. I love you. Have a great day.
Love you too, man.
Stay safe, man. And we'll speak soon.
Thank you, brother.
Well,
God
man,
bless
thank
you.
you.
Have a great day.
Yeah,
Cheers,
you
man.
too.